Guys, I don't know if you've seen the stuff coming out of France recently, but it is disturbing. We get a message here from the New York Times. It says, vaccinate or else. Now, this is in response to the new coronavirus variant. That is another major issue we're seeing is we get the coronavirus down, right? The numbers are all down. Now there's variants coming up. We still, the government still has to have total control over you because, there's more variants out there now. This is complete crap. The article says here, in response to a surge in cases of the highly infectious Delta variant, Mr. Macron, in an address to the nation Monday, stopped just short of imposing universal mandatory vaccines, but he made clear that the lives of unvaccinated French people would quickly become miserable, potentially restricting their travel and even their ability to sit for a coffee or dine outside their homes with friends. Exact same thing is happening to Canadians in Canada. And guys, stuff like this is very disturbing. And I actually have three completely different scenarios that I really think are a good overall comparison. Now, I'm not comparing the people or the events. I'm just comparing the way the government is able to kind of control their citizens. Three different scenarios, and I'm going to talk about them right now. Again, guys, I'm not comparing these people because people are going to say, oh, you think this is as bad as this. It's not a comparison like that. I'm comparing how the government seizes more control over their citizens. Okay, and the first scenario I want to go back to 1933 when Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany passed the Enabling Act, giving Hitler full control of Germany. Now, guys, I've studied World War II. It was one of my areas of study. I know a lot about it. And we obviously know the Reichstag fire, which was supposedly started by communists. At least that's what Hitler led the German people to believe. Of course, many people think and know that Hitler had his own people, had his own, military members or his own, people within the Nazi party start that fire to impose that Enabling Act, which gave Hitler full power of Nazi Germany because Adolf Hitler couldn't go out and tell the German people, I want full power to do whatever I want. They wouldn't stand for it. But if you have something like the Reichstag fire, all the communists, they're terrible, they're evil, it allows Hitler to say, hey, listen, you need to give me this power so I can do something against communism. That's the first scenario. The second scenario is what happened on January 6th, and actually the response to January 6th, right? We know Twitter, Facebook, social media, they do not like Donald Trump. They did not like Donald Trump spreading his message on those platforms and influencing people, young people. Many people obviously on those platforms are young. You don't want Donald Trump on those platforms influencing a younger generation with his political beliefs, possibly getting more votes that way. We know how, active Donald Trump was on Twitter, using it, for propaganda, things like that. It's definitely a network that can be used for that, and that's what Trump was doing. So they use the January 6th thing and say, listen, the reason we're banning Donald Trump from Twitter, it's not because we don't like him. Again, guys, remember, the real reason they banned Donald Trump from Twitter was because they just don't like him. But they can't go out and say that, so they need something to happen to where, that's the reason we banned him. So they said Donald Trump inciting violence, he caused the January 6th riots on the Capitol. And then we all know how absurdly out of proportion the media blew January 6th. Again, it was terrible. It's disgusting. You shouldn't be storming the Capitol. But they acted like it was worse than the Civil War. 5 people died. I mean, they're acting like it's worse than 9/11. 5 people died. Come on, guys. So that enabled that scenario. They said Donald Trump is inciting violence. He caused this. When really, you could not even come close to proving that Donald Trump saying we need to show a sign of strength, on social media platforms, in turn says, storm the Capitol. If Donald Trump said storm the Capitol, then they stormed the Capitol. Okay, you have a point. Donald Trump saying we need to show a sign of strength, and then his supporters, barely any of his supporters, obviously the really kooky ones, storm the Capitol. That cannot be proven at all. But they needed a way to say, we're not just banning Donald Trump because we don't like him and we're restricting his First Amendment on Twitter, on social media because we don't like him. We're banning him because he incited violence and caused this, this disgusting thing to happen on January 6th. And then you go to something like this with the vaccines. Again, guys, I do not want to talk about the vaccines at all. really on this platform of YouTube, they really don't want you talking about the vaccines. I understand that. Get the vaccine if you want it. I'm not going to talk about that. But the idea of these new variants, right? First it's the coronavirus, then it's these new variants, and you've got the president of France coming out in a statement saying, listen, you need to get the vaccine or we're going to restrict your rights. Point blank, period. And we've got articles now of the French people protesting this, which is obviously very good. Again, guys, you can agree or disagree with getting the vaccine, but to come out and say, I mean, this is, this article it's a groundbreaking article, and this is 2021 and the rights of the people in France. Again, this is a very similar situation to Canada, but Canada's actually worse because their people are brainwashed. See, the thing with Canada is the biggest issue isn't the fact that the government is doing it and imposing ridiculous restrictions and on people's rights. It's that the people agree with it. That's how brainwashed they are. The reality of the Canada situation, if I went to a Canadian citizen and I said, this is ridiculous that they're infringing on your rights, you look at the cases, they're all down, people are getting vaccinated. If you don't get vaccinated at this point, you're taking the risk to go out, unvaccinated. That's your risk, that's your right. And the Canadian citizens, they would tell me that I'm the one that is unsafe and I'm the one that's, perpetrating, people to go out and get sick and things like that, and the government is keeping them safe. So they would actually defend the government, and therefore that is pure brainwashing. Now, it's good to see the French people protesting this, but again, I just want to read this one more time. The president of France, in an address to the nation Monday, stopped just short of imposing universal mandatory vaccinations, but he made clear that the lives of unvaccinated French people would quickly become miserable, potentially restricting their travel and even their ability to sit for a coffee or dine outside their homes with friends. This is an article that came out yesterday. That's a crazy paragraph, man. That is crazy. New York Times, straight from the New York Times. Wow, that is unbelievable. And guys, again, I'm not comparing Adolf Hitler to, Donald Trump getting banned from Twitter and to, getting a vaccine. The comparison is not the actual events. The comparison is the way, just like the Enabling Act, the government enabling themselves, using a situation to enable themselves. It's like, oh, there's a new Delta variant. There's a variant. You must get the vaccine. It's an enabling thing. It's like Donald Trump getting banned from Twitter. Oh, Donald Trump, look at what he did. He caused January 6th. We're enabled now to ban Donald Trump. It gives them an excuse to ban him, because you can't just ban Donald Trump because you don't like him, which is really what they wanted to do. No, we need an excuse to ban Donald Trump, so let's use the January 6th thing. That's what they were able to do. Just like back in 1933, Hitler, he wanted full power of the German citizens. He wanted full power of the German government there, and making it a full Nazi party leadership, full dictatorship. And he was able to do that with the Reichstag fire, blamed it on the communists, said these people are out of control, it's ridiculous, I need more power so we can really combat these people. That's what ended up happening. The Enabling Act gets passed. That's the way it gets done, guys, with government. The government, more restrictions. Look, Canada's the best situation. Their people are so brainwashed, they have no rights, and they like it. They like it because they think they're being safe. They're being safe because they're not spreading the coronavirus when the chances are really low. All the small businesses are dying. It is crazy. It is disgusting. And I hate going at Canada like this. I'm sure they're very nice people. Although I will say, everyone's like, oh, Canadians are so nice. Yeah, they're kind of forced to be nice. They share a land border with the most powerful military in the world. They're forced to be nice to America. If us and Canada had the exact same military size, I don't think Canada would be nearly as nice to us. They're forced to be nice to us because we could wipe them out in a millisecond. And Canadians will say, oh, that's your American ignorance. No, it's not. That's the reality of our military size compared to Canada's military size. And that's not a threat or anything like that. I'm not threatening the Canadian people. I'm saying everyone's like, oh, Canadians are so nice. They have to be nice to Americans. Their government has to be nice to us. They share a land border with us. We're the most powerful military in the world times 9. They have no choice. What if their military was more powerful than us? Would they really be that nice to us? Maybe they would be. I don't know. But it's just like, give me a break. Those people, it's just, guys, the thing with Canada is, I don't dislike Canada. They have great practices. I like a lot of their liberal policies. Medicaid for all, it's great. The problem is it's just the brainwash going on, and you see it's just a crazy, crazy world we live in, to where I think many of the people on the alt-left, definitely many of the people on the alt-left, now there are a lot of liberals, a lot of things I agree with, and they would not stand for this, but I think many people on the alt-left would be completely fine with their liberties and their rights, some of their rights being taken away in favor for a more powerful, bigger government. I really do think they would. And now there's this thing to where if you question the government, you immediately get labeled a conspiracy theorist. You immediately get labeled a kook. And, you know, the word conspiracy theorist really doesn't have much meaning anymore, I don't think, because when you call everybody who you don't agree with or who doesn't agree with what the government's doing a conspiracy theorist, that the word doesn't really mean anything. It's just like the word racist. If you call someone a racist, we know all these people on the left, they call everyone racist, racist, racist. The meaning of the word gets diminished because you're calling everybody a racist. You understand what I'm saying, guys? So 3 different situations, really interesting thing to think about. We're going to have to see what happens. This is still a developing situation in France. The president of France, this was a statement he released yesterday. So we're going to have to see how this develops right now when it comes to the overall, standing with this Delta variant. Now, when it comes to the new variant of the coronavirus that they're talking about, this specific one, apparently it spreads a lot easier, but it is not more fatal than the actual coronavirus. And we know the coronavirus for healthy people is very harmless, very harmless. The only thing it could really do to a very healthy person is cause you long-term effects, lack of taste. And obviously we don't want that, but that is very kind of extreme things. If you're healthy, you're in good shape, it's not going to do anything. Remember, guys, they didn't want to come out and say it, but 78% of the hospitalizations in America were obese people from the coronavirus. But they didn't want to come out and say, listen, if you're fat, you need to get in shape, because that's fat shaming. So they didn't use the whole fat thing. It was really just old versus young. But the really number one, well, it was old versus young. If you're older, you have a higher chance of dying, but you got to be in your 70s or 80s. But the other thing is, if you're fat, you're going to have a higher percent chance to go to the hospital, right? So if you're healthy, you're good, you're relatively in a good bracket, your 60s, your 50s, you're healthy, you should be fine from COVID as we continue to wind this thing down. But these new variants coming out, it allows the government more control over you. It really is crazy to think about. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I am, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.